Hello, my name is Louise and welcome to Adventures with Yarn. This is my mainly knitted and crochet podcast here on YouTube, but also occasionally about other crafts that I end up getting myself into. Thank you so much for joining me. If this is your first time, if you're a new viewer, welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time to come check me out. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. I'm very glad that you've returned to come see what I have to say this week. So I hope you guys have all had a great week. Like I said, my name is Louise. I am a nurse living in Oregon, in the United States, the Pacific Northwest of the United States. And I'm kind of obsessed with knitting and crochet. And so this podcast here is just for entertainment purposes only for now. And yeah, so mainly I'm mostly just kind of babble on about the crafts that I'm working on, show you what I've been working on, show you what I'm planning on working on, and such. So let's get into it. I am wearing my finished knitted sweater. And oh my gosh, you guys, I love it. I really love it. So this is the first sweater I've ever knit for myself. This is the Basic Raglan Pullover by Joji Locatelli. It is made in this really nice wool. I can't even hardly believe it's wool. Like, I would not have guessed. If you had to make me guess, I don't know what I would have guessed, but not wool. It is BFL, which is Blue Face Leicester wool, which is a high quality British wool from sheep in England. And it is just lovely. This yarn is from Amy Florence, hand dyed by her in the colorway Midnight Sun. So this is a basic raglan pullover. Let's see if I can get a little bit of a shot there. Watch my Instagram for photos of me out in the real world wearing this sweater. That is at Adventures with Yarn on Instagram. Yeah, this took me a little while. I had, you know, a little mistake. You can hardly see it. I've not quite addressed it yet, right there. But, it's a top-down sweater knit from the top on down. Had to divide for the sleeves, put those on waste yarn, while I then knit down the rest of the body of the sweater. Came back to knit the sleeves. I love the length. Basically, it followed the pattern. So I can move my hands in and out of these. I can, you know, move this if I want it to be like that. Otherwise, I can pull up the sleeves to be this really nice length that I really like here. I really just follow the pattern. I measured my bust. I went with a recommended size, which for me was a 2XL. I'm very grateful to Joji Locatelli for making sweaters in the plus sizes. Not all sweaters, sweater patterns I found had that possibility. Like, what was the one I wanted to make? The no frills sweater. I wanted to make a no frills sweater, but I think it just stopped short of the size that I needed for it. This one worked out perfectly. I really like it. I really love it. I can't believe I knit my first sweater, you guys. Oh my gosh. So, yeah. I think this project was not that bad. Especially top down. I've made baby sweaters top down. I think I would definitely do this again. Maybe like next year, so I can get my gift knitting in for the year. And also, I am doing this yarn diet thing. I'm not buying a bunch of new yarn. I'm trying to use up the stash that I have, and I would definitely need to buy another sweaters quantity. I think that was just the hardest part about knitting a sweater, was acquiring a sweater's quantity. And in this case, this really nice high quality wool, hand dyed. In the end, it's worth it. But that was just the hardest part, was just letting myself pay for that much yarn at one time. And actually, I ended up buying it two separate occasions because I miscalculated how much yarn I needed. So I had to wait for Amy Florence to then put out some more of this kind of yarn, but now it looks like she is doing like a sweaters quantity dyed on demand in certain colors, so that might be something you guys might want to check out. I like just can't stop like touching myself in this sweater. This is really nice. This is a really nice weight too. It is DK weight. It is not a worsted weight sweater. It is not a fingering weight sweater, which might be on my to-do list in the future. I mean, that would definitely seem like it would take longer. It might make a thinner sweater, drapier type of sweater. But anyways, so finished objects for today, the Basic Raglan Pullover by Joji Locatelli. All right, on to the Sock Society, the Handmade Sock Society. If you've been following along, I have been a part of the Handmade Sock Society by Helen of Curious Handmade. And I have one sock finished of the Shell Cottage Socks. There we go. Very, very lovely, very pretty design. Pretty pattern there. Kind of looks like seashells. It is beautiful Biff sugar yarn, merino cashmere nylon blend. It's very, very soft, very, very pretty. The color is called Beatrix. Makes me think of seashells. That's why I picked it. I am almost finished with the second sock. Really, I just have to start the toe. I only have one more repeat of that nice pattern repeat that gives it that texture. So one more repeat and then start working on the toe of this sock, and then I'll be finished with this pair and just in time for the next pattern to come out. So I have a link in the description if you guys would like to join me in the Handmade Sock Society. It is a sock subscription club. You pay just a little bit more than 20 American dollars, and that will get you a total of 6 sock patterns. 6 sock patterns. They come out once every other month. So this was the very first one, came out in February, and now that it is April, on the 11th, it was just a few days from now, the next pattern will come out, and I'm so excited to see what it's going to be. The theme of the Handmade Sock Society this year is like this coastal getaway. It is set on the Cornish Coast in England, but the way that she describes it sounds very much like the West Coast. Well, I can't say West Coast because California coast is a lot different than the Oregon coast, but it sounds a lot like the Oregon coast. A very, you know, cold and windy and overcast, but still just beautiful and relaxing. Oh my gosh. So I don't know what it's going to be next. And I'm really excited to hear what it's going to be like, so I can, you know, read the pattern, look at what the pattern is going to look like, and pick which yarn I'm going to use with that next. I do have lots of really pretty sock yarn in my stash. I have like pretty, like elegant, pretty, and then I have like bright, fun sock yarn colors. But I do have a lot. I have a lot, and so hence I need to use up what I have. I'm determined to be on the sock diet for a while. I have plenty of sock yarn to make plenty of socks. But yes, yeah, so I'm almost finished with this one. This project I have been using the, or at least for this sock, I have been using the Jammy Dodger project stitch marker from Pitter Patter Polymer. Right there, I really love her stuff. Really cute. And this one also is like kind of, I don't know if you can tell, it's kind of glittery, sparkly there. Anyways, real cute, real cute. So yeah, almost done with those. If you like knitting socks, I did spill the beans a little bit last week that I will be hosting a sock knit along. That's all. I'm still all I'm gonna say for now, but I have a lot of prizes lined up. I have a theme in mind, and the prizes all go with that theme. And if you've been waiting to make socks, if you know how to knit, but you just have been intimidated by socks, I really encourage you to take this opportunity to just do it. Just go for it and bite the bullet and knit some socks, because they're really not that hard. I know it looks hard, it sounds intimidating, but if you can do a lot of kind of basic knitting techniques, then you can knit a sock. And on my Ravelry page, we're going to have a chat forum where beginner sock knitters can come together with more experienced sock knitters, bring your problems, bring your issues, roadblocks, hurdles, and we will get through them together. And we will come alongside you, help you, show you, so that we will all be knitting socks together. And it'll be really fun to see all the different kinds of socks that people choose to make. And in the meantime, I'll be giving out lots of prizes. There will be grand prizes as well. This will be taking place from the end of May to the end of July. And more details to come. Stay tuned. You'll hear it here first. We'll have information on my Ravelry page at Adventures with Yarn group. And you can also watch Instagram at Adventures with Yarn too for upcoming information. So that is super, super exciting. I'm really looking forward to that. Okay. So it's kind of been a whirlwind this last week, 2 weeks or so. If you watched last week's podcast, I talked about these cysts that they found on my ovary. I don't have that yarn ball with me, but it is big. It is like the size of a cantaloupe. Basically, there is a cantaloupe inside of me. Good news, it is benign. I had an appointment with the oncologist just several days ago, and although she cannot say for 100% certainty, she is very, very, very positive that it is benign. But she, as the oncologist, is going to do the surgery with the gynecologist so that once they go in there, they can take a look around and make sure nothing else looks cancerous, precancerous, or you know, whatever, and that they can take it out. I'm really excited because I'll have the oncologist there, who's the cancer expert. She'll be there to look and see if anything looks worrisome for in the future. And I'll also have my gynecologist there who knows about my fertility journey that I've been on and can make decisions, you know, about, you know, what to do as far as being sure that I might be able to have a child of my own later on, after surgery later on. So I don't have a time yet because the two of them have to coordinate and get back to me, but hopefully soon. I don't know when. I will probably have surgery. I don't anticipate it being super, super complicated. Basically an outpatient surgery. I might not even have to stay the night in the hospital, which is awesome because if I did, I would be taken care of by my coworkers, because that is exactly the area of the hospital that I work in, the inpatient surgical unit, where I take care of people that have had surgery that are staying the night. And so in this case, if I show up on the unit, they're all gonna know. Basically, it's kind of like sometimes we get patients that are supposed to have an outpatient procedure, but they just can't make it to where they can just go home right then and there. They need to stay. And so I'm just a little nervous that, like, I'm gonna be a wuss and I'm gonna be in pain or I'm gonna be throwing up, and then I'm gonna come to their unit and they're gonna say, oh, here is this patient who happens to be someone that we know and supposed to be outpatient procedure, but she has to stay because whatever. And yeah, it'll be fine. It'll all be fine, but interesting. It'll be very interesting to be on that side of things. Okay, but so things have just kind of been all over the place. As far as crafting goes, I've been crazy ADD with my crafting. I've just kind of been bouncing around. I know I showed you guys some cross stitch last week that I was considering, and basically I asked you guys, did you think that I should work on the smaller cross stitch or the larger cross stitch? And the majority of responses were that I should distract myself with the larger cross stitch. So here we go. We have the larger cross stitch kit by Dimensions. I think it is really basic. Roses on White Chair. That's what it's called. I couldn't think of anything anything else a little more creative. But I was cross stitching, and I hadn't cross stitched for quite a little bit. It's been a while. And you know, I was like, okay, let's do this. Let's do this. It's really pretty. I really want to have this. I really want to have this for myself. And you know where to start? Well, usually you start in the middle with cross stitch, larger cross stitches. The middle is a good place to start. And I was just kind of really struck with like, wow, this is really slow going. This is a lot more slow going than knitting and crochet. So I'll show you what I have done. And it's not a lot. It's just that. But basically, 2 different colors, each with a strand, a whole strand of each color. Doesn't look like anything quite yet, but hopefully maybe it will sooner or later. It is on this Aida, which is kind of one of my lesser favorite things to work on, but hopefully in the end it will just all look better and will look nicer. So yeah, you can't, it's hard to tell what it looks like now, but eventually it will look something like this. And as I make more progress, I will show you some more of that. It's nice to have just some kind of variety, something different to do. But speaking of variety, so, and I was mentioning feeling kind of like ADD in crafting. So I was, oh, before I get into that, actually, I did show you guys some yarn last week that I wanted to make the next project out of. I have this Lion Brand yarn. Here's my crochet hook sticking out of this. This is Lion Brand Shawl in a Cake. I went online and looked up their patterns for a shawl in a cake, and I wish I could remember the name. I'll have to figure it out and post it later. But I started making a shawl out of that, and it is pretty small so far to start out with. Obviously it will get bigger, but you can already tell that the color is changing, and so the color will change throughout. It's a fairly simple crochet pattern. It'll end up being a shawl that I may wear as like a triangle scarf. It is kind of sparkly. The texture is a bit different, a little more fuzzy in some areas, but a nice repeating pattern with the color changing. A fun project, and something for myself as well, which I don't always do very often. But so yes, I will figure out, I can't believe I forgot to look up the pattern, but I will look it up, I will figure it out, and I will show that to you. Okay, and as you can see, the colors will change. We've got more of a blue to a white, to pink, back to blue. I will use up this whole thing. This should make a really nice sized shawl. So that's been fun. But like I was about to say, so I got distracted from yarn crafting. I was on Facebook, and I fell prey to a Facebook ad. It was paint by numbers. Maybe you've seen these. They are these paint by numbers for adults. You know how like now they have like coloring books for adults? These are paint by numbers. And it's not the same as what you might have seen in the past, back in the 80s, 90s. It's a little bit different. So I saw this ad on Facebook. I thought that looks really, really cool, kind of expensive. Should I do it? Should I not? My husband was right next to me. I was like, you know, I think I'm going to spend all this money because this looks really cool and fun. I'm going to do this. He suggested that I search Amazon first before buying directly from the company that was advertising on Facebook. And I'm glad I did, because for just a fraction of the cost of what was being shown on Facebook, I found the exact same thing on Amazon. I'm going to show you this box. So this box says gray art, and then Let me know. YXQSED. I don't know what that is. But this is the picture that I chose. It is this really kind of abstract, pretty deer with some different, you know, colors splotched all around there and patterns and flowers on it. So this paint by number, it comes, so this kind comes on a canvas, and you can choose if you want it to be just the canvas or come like framed. And I wasn't sure. At first I was, you know, not sure what that meant exactly. I thought that it would be mounted on the canvas without like a frame, like a frame on the outside. I didn't understand that canvas can be framed from kind of like the inside, like the canvas can be stretched over the top of a wooden frame and kind of be, and that's what I thought I would have preferred, but actually this is just fine. So it came on just this canvas, and you can see I've started working on it. I've started working on some, and this paint dries too really nicely, really well. Dries very well. If you can see, look up close here, all these little sections, and they have the numbers on them. And you just paint each section with the paint that it comes in. Now this does have a crease in it. I'm thinking that it's going to stretch out once I'm finished and get this all stretched onto a frame. But basically you kind of just start with one paint color and paint all the sections that are that color from top to bottom. And so I am on the first color so far, which is the lightest. We're starting with the lighter colors, and they come in these little tubes that might look familiar. If you've ever done paint by number, that's what those little tubes look like. This paint has been so far really easy to wash off my paintbrushes with water. I did look online for some tips and tricks. They were saying that the paintbrushes that come with the kits are not the best, so I did go out and buy some paintbrushes of my own, and I just rinse them off with water when I'm done, in between little sessions, my sessions of working with them. But much like the adult coloring books, this has been very therapeutic, very relaxing. Just one more craft to add to what I'm doing. So like I said, I feel like I might be wearing myself a little bit thin, spreading myself a bit thin, working on this and that and the other all at the same time. But you know, I'm having fun. I really am enjoying these crafts, and I still am excited about which sock pattern I'm going to do next. I'm excited to finish that shawl that I just showed you that I'm crocheting. I'm stoked to get to use the yarn in that yarn ball that is the size of my cyst I showed you last week. After that cyst gets removed, I'll be unwinding that and using it for myself on really nice projects. So okay, that's gonna be it for this week. So I can get back to all these crafts, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for joining me. I really hope you guys get something out of me babbling on. I would really love to hear what you guys are working on. Let me know in the comments down below. Feel free to reach out. You can message me on Instagram. Check out my Ravelry page at Adventures with Yarn. Is a Ravelry group. Because definitely in the next few weeks we will be announcing more information about the sock knit along this summer with very exciting prizes to come. Alright, you guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys are all well. Take care, have a great week, and I will see you next time. Alright, bye!